last week shows that Donald Trump is polling at 49% compared to Clinton's 40%. Gary Johnson has 6% and Jill Stein is at 2%. So, how are the presidential choices affecting those down ballot candidates and issues? We are joined now by two members of the Texas congressional delegation, Democratic Representative Mark Vesey from the 33rd District and Republican Michael Burgess from the 26th. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning to you.
And thanks for joining us today. So let's talk about those down ballot races. Let's start with you, Representative Burgess. How do you think this election is affecting everything else that's down the line?
As far as my race in Denton County and Tarrant County, I'm feeling pretty good about that down ballot race. We're working hard and we're taking nothing for granted, but we'll run through the tape. You know, in Texas, as far as congressional delegations, congressional races go, it's the 23rd down by San Antonio. It's the one race in Texas that seems to be in play this time. And I've been down and worked alongside Congressman Will Hurd. I think he's done a great job down there. I think he deserves re-election, but we'll see. That's a closely drawn district. And then across the country, sure, Republicans are at 245 House members right now. So it's going to be difficult to hold that number just because it has been a historically high average. But I don't think there's any question the Republicans hold the majority in the House of Representatives. And I'm actually optimistic that Republicans will hold the majority in the Senate after all the smoke clears there.
Okay.
And let's point out that Will Hurd against Pete Gallego, who held the seat.
That's right.
Before Hurd beat him. What do you think, Mark?
I think that Pete is looking really good. I think he's going to pull it off. It is a very tough seat. You know, historically, that seat has always gone back and forth between Republicans and Democrats, but Pete is well known down there. He's doing a good job doing everything that he needs to do, and I think that he's going to be victorious.
Is there a Trump effect, you think, that's helping candidates like Gallego and other Democrats across the country, or no?
I think it varies on where you are.
Not only Gallego, but even here at home, when you look at the North Texas state house races, you look at Victoria Nieve, you look at Terry Meza, probably two of the more competitive state house races here in DFW, and I think that they're going to do quite well. And I think that Trump effect is some of the kind of oddball things that he's said, I think is going to really help our candidates like that.
Close race Tuesday, Dr. Burgess?
On the presidential, not in Texas.
Race?
I mean,
no,
it's Trump's going away in Texas.
But national.
I think it's quite likely that we may be up late Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, and even just on the way down here, last week there was the story that the projected electoral vote for Hillary Clinton is now under the magic 271 or 272. So there's a lot in play. The race has tightened. The national race has tightened. I don't think there's any question about that. The last week and a half, some of it was the FBI stuff that came out. Some of it was just the natural tightening. Republicans coming home. Republicans warming to Donald Trump. Correct. He hasn't been the easiest candidate to love throughout the entire process. But at the same time, what a unique thing that he's done. Here's someone who's never run for any office. He hasn't been involved in the political process, and to put together the type of primary victory that he had with the greatest number of Republican primary votes that have ever happened, ever, and then to be able to hold his own in a national presidential race. Sure, there have been some tough spots along the way, but it's coming together at the end, and I'm very optimistic of what he's going to be able to do.
And Representative Vesey, I imagine that you disagree.
I definitely disagree. I don't think the American public is going to elect a Lester Maddox type, silly showman like Donald Trump. I don't think that we're going to be up late at night at all. I think that Hillary Clinton is going to get well over the 270. I think that the race always tightens up like it normally does. But I think at the end of the day, when you look and you contrast them and just think about just Donald Trump's behavior over the last year and just some of the things that have come out in the past, some of the words that he used about groping women and what have you, I think that American public is going to make the right choice, and I don't feel we'll be up all night.
The American public is tired of gridlock in Washington.
Yeah. Yes.
So whether it's President Clinton or President Trump, will Democrats and Republicans be able to work together in the House to get things done, more so than during the 8 years under President Obama?
Well, the short answer is yes, but right, a lot depends on the election. I respectfully disagree with the summation that my colleague Mark Vesey just gave. Look, 70% of the country right now feels like we're going in the wrong direction. So you want more of that? okay, sign up for more of that. But if you want to try something different, if you're willing to go in a different direction, obviously Donald Trump is that person. Now, if Donald Trump is at the helm, and this past week I did spend time with the transition team up in Washington. I'll tell you, there were a lot of people that are there working. They're working on that first 100-day agenda that Mr. Trump is putting together.
Can you work with Clinton, though? Oh, President Clinton.
Well, the long and short of it is you do what you have to do on the side of the House of Representatives. I think the bigger question is, will there be overtures from either candidate who's successful to the House of Representatives? You know, we really didn't see that from the Obama administration. With the first 2 years, he had majorities. There wasn't a reason to come to Congress for much of anything, and that mold never differed. I'm optimistic that whoever wins, that will change.
Okay, and last word, Representative Vesey, do you think if there's a President Clinton, that we will see a lot of the same type of obstructionist tactics as far as legislation?
I would hope not. I think the American people are tired of that. I think they want us to come together and find some common sense solution on the issues like fixing some of the problems with the Affordable Care Act, immigration reform, other things like that that's going to get the country going in the right direction, and they don't want to see the gridlock anymore, regardless if you're Democrat or Republican.
And can you work with President Trump?
I'm not sure if anybody can work with President Trump. He seems to have an attention span of about a 2-year-old, and I think it would be very difficult for even Republicans to be able to work with him, to be quite honest with you.
All right, well, we will see what happens. Just 2 more days. Thanks to you both, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Up next, our political expert.